Okay, I'm going into the first matchup, which I am going to need to take a few minutes to kind of gain my composure, number one, and take a few deep breaths as I go ahead and I go over this and I detail how both these teams got here. Taking a sip of coffee, so I am a little bit energized, not to the point where I'll probably be throwing things out the window and breaking stuff, but I want to get my best content out there. Want to say congratulations to both these competitors. Whether you feel like they deserve to be here or not. Okay, so let's kind of detail how things went about for the first competitor in this matchup, who is David Sutton. So, I think the division that he was put in, that was the wild card division. Every single year, I feel like it's always the same. It's never like three evenly balanced divisions. It's always one really crappy division, which we know about. We know that it's one intense division with 3 or 4 people likely making it, which is a lot. And then we have what's called the wild card division, and I think this was the biggest wild card division because you had playoff experience, Super Bowl experience with Coffee and David, and you had Patrick's first year in the league, and you also had the vintage one, Vintage Harsh, who, by the way, there's only been one man who's stand behind this guy's corner every single year. And he's shown, I think, for the last few years that he's been competitive. So that, to me, I didn't know where I was going with that because you felt like two guys with the 2 rings would be competitive. How would everything else go down? Well, I got to say this. I really got to say this, man. I honestly thought the Patrick game, when Gus Edwards put that touchdown in, he sweated it out. He sweated it out, and he got through with a must-needed victory. If Gus Edwards had, I don't even know how many yards he needed. Unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how the heck that happened. This kid Patrick fought in his first year of the league, so I got to give him props. Patrick, hold on a second. There's a possibility Patrick could have been in the playoffs. Maybe. I don't know what the point total was between. Yeah, he would have. Oh, man. Wow. If Gus Edwards had that many yards, Patrick would be in this spot. This is unbelievable. Just realize that. A certain someone in the league has called David Sutton the luckiest fantasy competitor of all time. You could make the case for that. You could definitely make the case for that. I'm not going to reveal who this inside source was. You know, Coffeegate has already leaked out. We don't need any more scandalous stuff, but I have an inside source who thinks they believe that. And here's what I tell them. Let's now transition to the other competitor. Really good segue. I know you guys like that one. Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones. For whatever reason, I think God put this kid on earth to make sure that he was always in my division. I think there's only been 1 year. I'm pretty sure I've always had Andre in my freaking division. For whatever reason, it's always been a rivalry. I'm always in this kid's division. 1 year, I believe. Andre, you got to tell me what year it was. I'm probably going to go back and fact check, but I know for a fact there was only 1 year where I wasn't in it with you because I think you were in the Johnny division or some weird crap. I have never been a part of the Andre division. I mean, I've always been a part of this kid Andre, right? And I look at it like this, okay? I sound like a broken record. These two have met in the playoffs, which I'll be giving some fact checks on once I release this matchup. They've had some history in the playoffs. I think they've met at least 3 times. They've met in the divisional round. I think they've only met in the divisional round. Twice in the divisional round, once in the Super Bowl, right? And I sound like a broken record, but I got to say it. I really thought that Cinderella story was scripted out for Andre to be the most impressive champion of all time. In fact, it was the reverse because Johnny believed that Cam Newton could throw on one arm, an arm that was broken, pretty much, effed up shoulder, whatever. Felt like he could deliver him the goods. Obviously, it did not. And if Johnny pulls out Cam Newton, puts in Josh Allen, I think Andre has the Cinderella story of a lifetime. It's probably the greatest Super Bowl thing of all time, right? Considering the division. And Johnny ruined the fantasy gods' plans, and now I think this is the way the fantasy gods saying, we feel bad for this kid. Let's just make him a playoff team every single year. Because since that loss to David in the Super Bowl, this kid has won the division without leading his division in points. In fact, as bad as this division was, if you want to count a point total check, he is last. Now, I am not as triggered as I was in the beginning of September and October because I realized that I was not getting any running backs, and Tyler Lockett decided to be Jekyll and Hyde all season. DJ Moore decided to do the same thing. So I'm saying to myself, okay, look, I don't have running backs to supplement this. So I'm not as mad. It's just I'm pissed that I'm the one who's calling this right. It's the bottom line of what I want to say. So an argument could be made if you think that that David, bottom line, is the luckiest of all time. Well, this kid is making his claim to that. The only thing that's missing in the Andre repertoire, he doesn't have a ring. So therefore, I think with the ring thing in check, things get interesting now. And now, as I am recording this, it is officially 3:15 on a Thursday, and I just got a notification, which is the luck is in favor of Andre. Yikes. Here we go. Gentlemen, I will give this as much of a detailed thought as I can. I am not going to do any reverse jinx. I have kept the same energy against Andre's team all season long, but I am going to have to call it as I see it. David has not been that impressive the last 2 weeks. However, there's a chance that he gets his superstar back, although as I just recorded this, just got a notification that does not look good. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen who are listening to this, and David and Andre, this matchup is for pride because you're getting killed next week. That's a guaranteed. Light roast versus lamb over rice. Let's get into it. Patrick Mahomes versus Ryan Tannehill. This is a good chess piece move by Andre. You're not going to counter a Patrick Mahomes explosion against the Miami Dolphins. No way. But Ryan Tannehill, I think, has been a very, very viable fantasy football starter. Tannehill has given out a lot of floor games, and he's had a lot of upside games. Here's my concern with Mr. Tannehill. There is none. The bottom line is this. He's had one bad game with 12 points against the Indianapolis Colts on a Thursday night, shortened week game. If you take that away, the lowest amount of points he's scored all season has been 18. He's always been the mid-20s at least, right? And into the 30s. Jacksonville the last time, 34 fantasy points. I don't think he gets that outburst. For whatever reason, Derrick Henry didn't score in that game. This is a game where they should control the game. The fast-paced offense, the Arthur Smith, I know he might get a head coaching gig next year. We'll see about that. But I got to say this, right? Mr. Ryan Tannehill, right? He's dealing all the goods right now, and I like this matchup a lot. And by the way, to all of you, I just have to throw this segment out here. There's a guy in Tennessee, number 84, that a lot of people, have doubts about that I've never did, and I dropped $300 because of Andre, because I were at the bar, and I said, if I somehow win because of Corey Davis, I'll get an authentic jersey. And guess what? I was a man of my word. He is it's a 1A, 1B situation, but if you look at the numbers other than touchdowns, Corey Davis has been much better this year. Love it. Okay, sorry. I had to get that out there. Patrick Mahomes, I can't pick against the guy because this team doesn't run the ball, where Ryan Tannehill, you have a little bit of a nervousness going on with him because Derrick Henry, we know this is a positive matchup for him. What the hell is going to happen, right? I got no idea, Mac. I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes will hit that. He's projected way too low. I know Miami's had a serviceable defense, and I know if the Chiefs go 3 and out too much, Tua in the offense is good for real life, but it's boring as hell for fantasy football purposes. I'll say Mahomes gets 33 fantasy points, Ryan Tannehill 27, so it's going to be close, but I'll take Patrick Mahomes. Okay, this is an interesting one. DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Brandon Cooks, CD Lamb. Okay, to the naked eye, this is a slam dunk. I am here to tell you that this is actually not a slam dunk. And I am very, very concerned that this is the matchup that does not meet expectations on one side, and that's the David side. The combination of Hopkins and Christian Kirk. So I posted out a little fact, right? There's this weird trend going on. I know Johnny was the quote-unquote innovator of taking receivers on the same two teams. Remember the GB boy stack? And I said that's going to cost you, because the problem with stacking two guys on the same team, it limits your upside unless you're in a guaranteed shootout of a game. Like, let's be honest here, the Arizona-Seattle game, well, to me, I still think was the game of the year. And that was the only time I think both of them hit their peak upside in the same week. And then it's just been flip-flopped. It's been like 17-9, and it's covering your ass no matter what. And I get why people do it, but I feel like that's only a viable strategy if you have two guaranteed workhorse running backs, because then you're just going for floor, and a sprinkle with upside, right? Here's the problem. Kyler Murray's arm is in trouble. It's a shame. Obviously, I love the guy, and once he got hurt, man, that was it for me. That was the nail in the coffin. He is not attempting any deep balls. He is not even running because he's afraid that if he lands on the shoulder awkwardly, his career, okay, I don't want to go that far, but we've seen what happens when these quarterbacks injure their throwing shoulders. It is not 100% healthy. The thing you like about it is that it's a pace-up spot. The Giants are a very good defensive team. I know everybody's hopping on their bandwagon now. They've been underrated the whole season, really, and it's thanks to the guy we gave him for a bag of chips, Leonard Williams. Don't want to talk about it. Bottom line of what I'm trying to get at right now, this guy, Christian Kirk, and this guy, DeAndre Hopkins, the only way they're getting there is if they both catch a touchdown within like 10 yards. Murray's arm is absolutely shot. This is not even a good matchup. I am down on the projections, and I don't even know what they are. Let me look at it closely. I will say the combination of Hopkins and Kirk goes under 20 points combined. Not very big on this. I absolutely am not. It's why you're seeing Kenyon Drake getting a lot more carries. Why? They don't want Murray running. Murray doesn't want to throw that long. Isabella led the team in target share last week and still finished way under in the air yardage total, all right? What is that telling me? Kyler Murray's arm is effed. I am not happy about this matchup at all. I think this is an area of concern, which leads me to go to Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb. Can they capitalize on a bust type of matchup with David? Well, for one, Andre, you continue to amaze me by making the playoffs with two of the oldest 26-year-olds of all time, and Brandon Cooks and Todd Gurley. Brandon Cooks, okay? I said this in the Allen matchup, and I was correct. This is a guy in WWE, you want him as a tag team guy. He is not a number one receiver. How many times have we saw this guy get number one receiver duties, and within 2 years, goodbye, we don't want you anymore. New Orleans. Yeah, this guy, Michael Thomas, we don't like you, Brandon Cooks. All right, now I found a home in New England. He was only there with 1 year in New England. He's not a very good number one receiver. I was hyped on him when he came out as a rookie, don't get me wrong. And then the Rams, right? Yeah, we're going to pay Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. We don't need you. Granted, that's a little effed up to say, though, because of the concussions that he got with the Rams. Not a true number one. And by the way, this is a terrible matchup. So Brandon Cooks way under that 12 points. I'm going to say 7 points. CeeDee Lamb is the interesting guy because he might be the guy that could capitalize here. This is a very soft matchup, but problem with CeeDee Lamb is that I feel like all season long he hasn't had very good upside performances this year, quite frankly. Andre, I know you're a Cowboys fan and you talked to me on the trail. Amari Cooper is by far, and it's not even close, the best receiver on this team. His route running is still, to me, people don't talk about it because the Cowboys suck. He's still top 3 in this league. I think it's, at this point, it's Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, and I would honestly say Amari Cooper. His route running is beautiful. Okay, CeeDee Lamb's going to be great next year with Dak. He's a great value pick, right? Gallup, I think, is the guy who gets left off this list. But anyway, CeeDee Lamb against Cincinnati. I think the upside here, to be honest, is like 15 if it hits. I'm not really big on CeeDee Lamb. but it is a good matchup, so I understand why he's in the starting lineup. So who do I pick here? I have no confidence. I have absolutely no confidence. If I had to lean a side, it would be the David side, because I think which receiver is most likely to get close to 20 points is DeAndre Hopkins, because his name is DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins can still get what he was remember what he was last year? I think DeAndre Hopkins' performance might go like 7 for 50 and a touchdown, which isn't great, but you'll take it. Christian Kirk, I just don't trust the guy at all. Murray's arm is shot. If you don't believe it, you're on crack. All right, bottom line. So I'll slight lean David, but this is going to be ugly looking at the box score. Okay, here's where things get really interesting. Oh, and you just took him out. You just took him out. That's why I'm at 117. Christian McCaffrey not being here for this game is a big game changer. Remember what we segued into? Who's going to be the lucky guy now? Anyway, so Leonard Fournette, yeah, no thank you. Here's what I will say, though, that is interesting. And, David, I know when it comes playoff time, you literally like to go your coin flip of a guy. This run is very similar to your 2016 run where you had dart throws of J.J. Nelson and Taylor Gabriel, and 2 weeks in a row they popped off, and then the Super Bowl happened, and we had to witness Max win a Super Bowl ring, which was supposed to be my second ring, which would have been the first time ever. I don't want to get into it. I'm still pissed about that to this day. Studied so hard for that matchup, and I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. Leonard Fournette, here's the interesting thing. They've had a bye week, but as much as I hated Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette has looked worse than Ronald Jones. The only problem with Ronald Jones is he's going to fumble the ball. But as a runner, he's looked so much better than Fournette. I can't say with confidence that Leonard Fournette is going to be pretty good. They haven't projected at 12 points. Way under for that. I'll say 6. Myles Gaskin, you're going to need this guy to get his heavy dosage of workload because you're going to need it bad here, buddy. Myles Gaskin is the definition of, if I want an RB2, he's an RB2. He's the definition of an RB2. He's getting, 12 to 15, I feel like, every week when he gets that workload. He doesn't get a lot of touchdowns, but workload is making him viable. Which brings me to an interesting point here. Look, I'll be fully admitted, and I've been using him on DraftKings. So, Andre, I am not going to hate on him right now. Flea Market Montgomery. David Montgomery. Finally doing something with workload. This is now 2 weeks in a row. He's looked really, really good. And another positive matchup against the Houston Texans defense. So let me get this straight. He gets the worst defense last week, goes off, and now he gets the second worst defense against the run in the Houston Texans, who, to me, they're going to be behind. I honestly think this is a really bad game for Deshaun Watson. Oh, and it's in Chicago? Oh, yeah, it's going to be a bad game for Watson. David Montgomery, do I dare say league winner? Yeah, I know it's weird saying that, but look, he's actually doing crap with the volume now. Maybe a bye week is all the guy needed. Best part about Montgomery's upside, I don't think anybody would ever said this. Mitch Trubisky has unlocked every game Mitch has been in. David Montgomery has had his best games. Weird, I know, but that's just the way it is. I really like David Montgomery. I honestly feel like, here's my bold take, right? This isn't even that bold. Okay, maybe it is bold. The highest scoring player that's not a quarterback in this matchup is David Montgomery. He is projected for 13 points. I am going to go over and say he gets 23 fantasy points. David Montgomery, fantasy football counselor, strikes again, I guess, if you want to say that. I'll be 100% honest, Andre. He's impressing me, and this is not reverse jinx because I've won money on DraftKings with him. So I like David Montgomery. Speaking of a guy I know very well and that you have for the first time ever, Melvin Gordon III. Well, did you check the fact checks that I bought in? This guy never shows up for week 14, 15, and 16. Never. Never, 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 never. Let me give you guys some fact checks and how I know about this, because I've been the Melvin Gordon truther. Not since day one. I did not like him his rookie year. Sophomore year, I was all about it. His breakout year, his sophomore year in 2016, when he was just getting every goal line touch and everything. He was a really good running back. I had a bye week, so I didn't play. He gets hurt in the middle of the Carolina Panthers game. Does not suit up in the semifinal matchup. Well, Nick, why is this such a big problem? Why are you bringing this up? Well, because at that time, Austin Ekeler was not on the roster or he was hurt, and there was no handcuff to Melvin Gordon because that was the year when Woodhead was out. McCluster was there and then got cut, and they literally, honestly, I think they had Ronnie Brown. I can't even remember, but that's how old we're going back to. 2017, okay? I did not have him that year. Lewis Todd, shout out to Lewis Todd, had him that year. He was dinged up going into the game and was splitting carries the rest of the season with Austin Ekeler. Okay, fast forward to 2018. And this is why I get so pissed off with these Chargers backs, because I feel like I'm a step ahead of everybody else and I'm not. Week 14, he doesn't play in the game. He had an injury. I never had him. I had Ekeler. I said, yo, this guy's amazing. Let's just throw in Austin Ekeler. No. That didn't work out because Ekeler got hurt in that game, and I didn't own Justin Jackson. The guy, since he's had a starting role, has either not played in that type of a matchup in Week 14. He hasn't. Or he's never finished the game. Here's a disclaimer. Matt Morris had him last year. I just realized he was splitting with Austin Ekeler. Bottom line was he was outscored by Austin Ekeler in that game. He got one touchdown, I believe, but he was dinged up. Bottom line is this guy cannot be trusted for this week. So if I'm looking at that and I'm playing the superstitious card, temper your freaking expectation, Andre, because like I've seen it time and time again. This guy does not show up. However, again, ladies and gentlemen, I plead the fifth. Not saying anything, but look, this is a great matchup, and this is a guy I might look to at DraftKings. Hopefully he doesn't burn me. And the reason this guy is a cat, he's fumbled so many times, and every time he fumbles, Phillip Lindsay gets hurt. Lindsay still doesn't look 100%. You got to go with Melvin Gordon. So if I'm not being superstitious, he's projected for 11 points. I think he gets 16. Therefore, I go with the running back matchup in Andre. Mike Gesicki versus Eric Ebron. Okay, this is scary, guys, because there is a guy in this matchup that has potential to, quote-unquote, pop off. And this guy, he's frustrating to own because I feel like every week where Mike Gesicki looks like, holy crap, he could probably eventually be in that Travis Kelce tier for tight ends, he literally doesn't appear for the next 2 weeks. So I am a little bit worried about consistency here. A lot of people believe he is better with Tua. I don't. Obviously, Parker is the one better with Fitzpatrick. Get it? But I feel like Fitzpatrick makes Gesicki and Devontae Parker a lot better. So where are you going with this? All right, I'll tell you. I like Gesicki in this matchup. I really, really do. Tua's got a lot to figure out, though. And I think the only way that Gesicki breaks out is if this offense is forced to throw a lot, because I think in a limited Tua limits everybody's upside. I get it, but you're hoping on a touchdown. I think he gets one. Eric Ebron against the Bills, that's the area you want to attack. Ebron has been very flory of a tight end. He's been like, even if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's still serviceable for the tight end landscape this year. Pick a winner. Got to go Gesicki. I'll say Gesicki gets 16 to 17 fantasy points, whatever, and I'll say Ebron gets 8. All right, now this is where things get interesting because this is hilarious just looking at these two flexes. I always say this. If I give my analysis when I pick games and I'm taking a look at where the flexes are and you're starting 2 tight ends, if their names are not George Kittle and Travis Kelce, you're nervous as hell you're going to lose this game. That's the way I always see it. 2 tight end strategy sucks. Bottom line. However, Evan Ingram is like Eric Ebron. They're kind of like the same. Ingram should be a lot better than what he's done, though. I mean, we all agree with that. Jamison Crowder finally was relevant again. Will that happen against the Seattle Seahawks? If Denzel Mims is out, I might say he actually will come back. And the only reason why I know that is because Mims left. I don't know if it's a COVID-related issue, a family emergency. And I think when you take Mims out of the equation, it just becomes Perriman and Crowder, and they don't have a third guy on the outside. Crowder will be good without Denzel Mims. How good? Not what we were getting the first 3 games that he was active, or whatever you want to call that. 9-point projection seems about right. I'll say 12. Here's my little blurb. You got to hope that Frank Gore does not play in this game, because you know damn well if he's suiting up, he's getting 17 carries. Ty Johnson, first Jet, whose last name is Johnson, to be hyped up since Keyshawn Johnson. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Ty Johnson, I had him and I cut him because he wasn't used because Frank Gore continues to fuck with my mind. Ty Johnson, me and Alan Williams, very, very big on Ty Johnson last year in Detroit. It's very, very interesting that Ty Johnson in a spread offense, as a guy who is versatile, didn't fit in Detroit and looked awful in Detroit. I honestly thought he was a league winner guy because Kerryon Johnson couldn't stay healthy last year. Again, granted, it is the Raiders. But this guy looked elusive. He looked like our best running back all year, man. And I said this again, check the chat. He broke off a nice 40-something yard run against the Miami Dolphins. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ty Johnson. Enjoy it. Anyway, Ty Johnson. So my man Ty Johnson over here. If Frank Gore is to be out, that leaves them with Ty Johnson and Josh Adams. Now, reason why you really like Ty Johnson. Here's the reason why. If Gore is out, I think he becomes game script dependent for whatever reason. This might be Adam Gase's smartest move ever as the Jets, is just bringing this guy off the streets. The Ballage thing was a big troll move. I said it again, too. Ty Johnson, since Bilal Powell has been like either hurt or off of the Jets, we've now seen like a third-string Jets running back be relevant in the playoffs. I had Elijah McGuire about 2 years ago. I lost to Andre, I think. Yeah, I lost to Andre. Go figure. And now Ty Johnson comes in here, right? So I really like Ty Johnson's versatileness, but Seattle is not a good defense to run against. My concern with Ty Johnson is if they try to establish him early, he's going to get shut down, and then come garbage time, Josh Adams might get a lot of looks. But if Frank Gore is out, I will say Ty Johnson, a very healthy 10 to 12 points, which leads to Gio Bernard. If Joe Mixon cannot go, I think Gio Bernard is not a workhorse type of a running back. It is an easy matchup. My concern here is Ryan Finley kills everybody's value. I think Mixon you would want in this matchup because I feel like Mixon might be quarterback or matchup proof compared to Gio. Gio makes me a little bit nervous. Ryan Finley I think is awful. Brandon Allen I actually think is a little bit competent. He's not good, but he literally like does what you want for fantasy. If I had to pick a Bengal that I would think scores the most, it's T. Higgins, not Bernard. But I like the guaranteed volume that Andre's going with here in the flex spot. Game changes. Seattle defense versus the Rams defense. This might be where the battle is won, boys. So the Rams defense starts tonight as I'm recording this. So hopefully I get this out here by Thursday. I'll try my best, boys. Rams defensive front. Okay, it's been well documented. People are hyping them up. They love the Rams defense. They love their secondary. New England's offense, to me, is not very good. They're traveling. Short week. Kind of like it. But you've got the motherload of all matchups. Seattle at home against the Jets. Coming off a game where they looked really bad against the New York Giants. This could be a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Cam Newton has gotten sacked a lot this year. I don't expect that to change whatsoever. The only way New England neutralizes that pass rush is if they can establish the run game. But with guys like Damian Harris leading the role like the way, I'm not too thrilled with that. Does Sean McVay get out coached again by Bill Belichick? It's very, very possible because I don't trust Jared Goff either. One thing I can trust, though, is that the Jets will be behind the Seattle Seahawks all game. Darnold is going to have to drop back. He might have a few sacks and might have a few fumbles. I get it. So I might give the slight lean here to David Sutton. Okay, okie dokie. Now we have to pick winners, keys to victory. I know this is a long. I wanted to make it as detailed as possible, guys. I didn't want to rush through anything. So if you like it, good. If not, too bad. Mahomes, if McCaffrey's out, you can, that's bad. Mahomes coming in. This is a great matchup for him. Not really, but it's fine. Ryan Tannehill should be fine. The bottom line is this. These Cardinals guys have to step up. You don't have the security of Christian McCaffrey getting you 30 points. And I really thought when I was going to commentate on this that your keys to victory were going to be McCaffrey and Mahomes combined for 60. If that thing happens, you're in good shape for this matchup. You don't have McCaffrey. The Cardinals' starting quarterback is hurt. And David, I know you like to overthink things a lot. You're probably going to do something stupid, and you're probably going to take out one of them and probably roll the dice with a guy like Nelson Aguilar, which is going to be a no-no for me. Bottom line is this. The Cardinals guys, you got to downgrade. I get it. But you're a ballsy motherfucker. Sorry, but that's the bottom line. The second guy who's keys to victory is Myles Gaskin. Has a lot of competition because Andre's backs, as boring as they are, and thank God Todd Gurley is not in this matchup. I can't believe it took you, what week are we in? 14 weeks to figure that one out. But Myles Gaskin getting workload because David Montgomery is going to smash. Melvin Gordon has a really juicy matchup. And what you say about my boy Ty Johnson? No, I'm just kidding. Andre is going with volume. I don't think Andre's receivers are that very good. They haven't been all season, but these volume-dependent guys could kill. And the other thing that could happen, David, for you to win is if Ryan Tannehill doesn't do anything because Derrick Henry has like a 5-touchdown game. Oh, God. So, David, who am I down on your team? The only guy I'm really high on is Patrick Mahomes and Myles Gaskin. Everything else, I think, is a big coin flip. I'll give you Gesicki in Seattle. Andre Jones, key to victory. Ryan Tannehill needs to come within 10 points of Patrick Mahomes, number one. Number two, David Montgomery got a smash. Melvin Gordon got a smash. Because I think if you do that, baby, I think it's pretty good, smooth sailing stuff. I don't like your receivers, but I think if Ty Johnson gets the starting nod, this is a very risque situation. I'm going to make my prediction. Due to injuries surrounding one team in particular, I honestly think that it is going to be too much to overcome in this battle. I think that's going to be the biggest difference here when we look back at it. Now, I know I talked so much crap, but I am being 110% honest. I'm in courtroom right now. I am raising my hand and I am saying, I hear the commish do not believe in reverse jinxes. Winner of this matchup, based on the running backs who smash, it's going to be Andre Jones. Yeah. You right now tuned in to Inevitable Podcast. First man ever to get 2 rings back to back, motherfuckers. Divisional round. This is going to be a heavyweight battle. A lot of people think that this should be a Super Bowl matchup. Let's talk about how these two teams got here. Who might I mention? This is now round 3. Round 3. Put your dukes up. Put your dukes up. All right, so we have Inevitable Johnny J. Fresh and Paul Percal. Well, I got to say this. I got to give a game ball here to Johnny because, I did not think that Mostert and Eckler would come back, but he won or no, how many? I don't know. Johnny, you didn't beat Paul last week, I'm pretty sure. But he won 2 out of the 3 games to get him into the playoffs, and that was a tough, tough, tough division. So I applaud Johnny J. Fresh for making it this far. Johnny J. Fresh also with your beloved Commissioner Nicholas having a losing season and not making the playoffs. Johnny has now, he has the best all-time record of all time. He has the most wins of all time. Things are looking up. Things are looking up. I think people in Vegas, I think, have adjusted their ranks for future references. They are saying that last year wasn't a fluke. Management has been the key. Management has been the key. I am not going to tell you, yeah, as a fierce competitor, yeah, everybody doesn't want Johnny to win, and I get it. He's the Eric Carmen of fantasy football. I fully understand that, but whether you like him or not, he's getting the job done, especially during a COVID year. I know people who are out of the playoffs, such as myself, can say, oh, well, it's COVID, whatever. But the fact to manage against this retarded situation, all the power to you. Now let's go to another man named Paul Perkal. Paul, I'm going to dictate your history here, man. So I'm pretty sure, Paul, you've been in this league for quite some time, young man, and I think me and Paul go way back. Paul has not been consistent with making playoff appearances, though. And I am going to fact check, and I'll put this in a new stat line, just so I know that everybody is kind of aware of where things stand and you all know what we're supposed to be doing, what stats you're looking at. I believe this is the first time you guys have ever, I know that sounded hilarious, ever met in the fantasy playoffs. I am pretty sure about that, but I need to go back and check. So I'm literally going through the desktop right now. I know. Why do we need to do this? Because we do. Because we do. Yep. It's official. These 2 teams have never met in the playoffs, and you guys have been around since day one. I mean, Paul goes way back, but Johnny and Paul, yeah, you guys have never met in the playoffs ever. That's incredible. Considering how long we've been together, this is the first time for everything. Here's why I love this matchup so much. Not because it's a heavy-hitting bout. Okay? I like that. Don't get me wrong. I have said this time and time again. You guys are the founding fathers of the reverse jinx. Obviously, Harsh being the third father in that. And you guys are literally 2 peas in a pod. I call Johnny. I am a little bit fucking nervous about Paul. I'll call Paul. This is bullshit because I'm not going to win because Johnny's team is playing me and I should have the one. Boys, you guys love your reverse jinx bullshit. My God. Get over yourselves, both of you. Both of you, both of you, both of you, both of you. Let's talk about past success. I have to build this up. Paul, you're probably, when the hell is it going to start? I get it. But look, I got to build this up, man. Paul has had the longest regular season winning streak and just cruised to the playoffs with 8 straight. I honestly thought Allen would come close to that, but he couldn't beat the other cousin, and that throws that out of the window. 8 straight is the record. I don't see anybody breaking that anytime soon. That's impressive. 8 straight victories. That's hard to do. And I love both of these guys so much because it's whoever loses is going to have excuse after excuse. You know it's coming. You know they're just going to be so effed. So effing pissed is what I meant to say. Because they're going to blame it on B Magic because he has the 1 seed. But bottom line is this. B Magic got luck. We'll admit that, right? Well, his last name's Magic, so we should have expected this. Anyway. Paul, Johnny wanted me to throw this out here as a stat. I defended you a little bit, but nonetheless, he wanted to add fuel to the fire, right? Johnny remembers back in 2015 that you had a B Magic run. You were very lucky with like the fifth most points in the league as the number one seed. And it's very similar to B Magic. While that is true, I defended you a little bit because you're going to say the same thing that you're probably going to text me after listening to this. Your team was good. It just got hurt, and therefore you couldn't find ways to put up points. You lost Chris Ivory, Arian Foster, and Keenan Allen, who was just – that Keenan Allen year was like none we've ever seen, the pace that he was going at. So I'll defend you a little bit on that regard. B Magic just never had good players. So, well, you had a few. All right, boys, let's get into it. I call it like I see it. Big Ben Roethlisberger at Buffalo versus Russell Wilson against the New York Jets. Okay, I could go for days about how I think that Ben Roethlisberger could be really good against the Buffalo Bills. I am not picking against Russell Wilson against this New York Jets team, a team that is in all likelihood tanking. The Giants had the Seahawks number. I get it. But Russell Wilson is going to dominate the New York Jets from the first whistle. And unfortunate for you, he's probably going to do it to one of Paul's main guys. So let's get into that. Adam Thielen and Corey Davis. Whoop. DK Metcalf and player to be named, which I'll get to. Okay? So, Paul, screw it. I'm gonna tell you who it is. So we know Stephon Diggs is on, so I'll say Stephon Diggs. Adam Thielen against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love this matchup. Adam Thielen is going to be, when we look at the, oh, wow, no, there's a lot of high scoring. Adam Thielen will be a top 5 scorer in this matchup that is not a quarterback related. I think he has a huge game. I think the world is in love with Justin Jefferson, such as myself. Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, one play, they look amazing, but they have given up explosive plays. Carlton Davis in particular. Adam Thielen is a precise route runner, and I think he has the better day of the two. I am actually bold predicting 2 touchdowns for Adam Thielen. Johnny is like, what the heck is going on here? Because Nick hates Adam Thielen. Look, if you're telling me the pressure is officially off of him, he now goes back to what he was with Stephon Diggs, which, may I remind you, is when I was on him. I had no idea Justin Jefferson would burst out onto the scene and be an elite receiver. Nobody did, really. I didn't like Thielen for like the first few weeks because he wasn't doing much. Love him here. Corey Davis, a man who you know I love very much. How do I feel about Corey Davis? He's safe, but he's not going to be explosive enough in this matchup. I think this is the Derrick Henry show, and I think, look at the game samples. Davis's highest amount of points have come in when Tennessee is trailing from behind. But I still think he's going to be a fine play. He's now gaining some respect in the projection category with 12 points. It's a really good receiver, ladies and gentlemen. I think Corey Davis gets 14 points in this matchup. Adam Thielen, I'm going to say a whopping 28. Let's go to the Paul side of things with 2 scary receivers in Stephon Diggs and DK Metcalf. I think both of these guys are in blow-up potential spots. Stephon Diggs is a wide receiver 1. DK Metcalf is a wide receiver 1. Joe Hayden dinged up, and Joe Hayden has not looked very good this year. He was great last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not so great this year, and now he's a little bit dinged up. This Pittsburgh defense was already overrated to begin with. I do not think there is a corner that can go toe-to-toe with Diggs' route-running ability. I don't. I think this Buffalo Bills passing attack is something I definitely want to invest in heavily next year. Heavily. Steelers have struggled, honestly, for the most part, with some receivers this year. And I think Diggs is no exception. I think Diggs has a really good game. I'll say 18 points. This is the guy that's going to scare the crap out of you, and that's DK Metcalf, a machine going up against a Pee Wee football team, the New York Jets, who is matched up against Lamar Jackson, not the Ravens cornerback, the Jets corner. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Here's the thing with Russell Wilson. If you keep looking at the way they want to run the ball, it's play action, let me go deep. Play action, let me go deep. And if it's not there, I'm dumping it off to Hollister on a delayed route, or I'm dumping it off to Lockett over the middle, or I'm dumping it off to Chris Carson. Well, the Jets are tanking, and they are probably going to do something stupid, such as, let's lead single coverage on DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, I would not be shocked if he went over 100 yards and a touchdown. He might even have 2 touchdowns in him by the end of this one. He might. He might. This is a bad matchup. This is a bad matchup if you're Jay. He's going to score pay dirt. I think Johnny's receivers are fine, but the explosive potential from DK Metcalf and Diggs, I think, are enough to take down Thielen and Corey Davis. Here's where the counterpunch by Johnny comes in, and that's the running back department. Paul's running backs have not been very, very effective. They have not been very effective. Chris Carson, you need him back. That's great. What did I tell you about Chris Carson? Love the player. I'm a little concerned about having him in the starting line. You're not benching him, Paul. Don't do that. Please don't do that. But it does limit the upside. Now, he's caught a lot of touchdowns this year, which is so freaking weird. But if Carson is going off, it's most likely that either DK or Russ is not having a great game. And I think that's happening here. Carson against the Jets, easy matchup. I think he scores, but he doesn't go crazy. I think it's like 14 points. On running back 2 is probably going to be decided between Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.D. McKissic. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a tummy ache, didn't play. So I don't know. The Miami defense is easier to target on the ground game. I get that, but the Chiefs don't run the ball very much, which opens up the doors for a guy who might be in the league winner conversation. J.D. McKissic. J.D. McKissic is just going to be he's going to be the new Chris Thompson. He's going to be a cheat code with catch. So I think that this guy, yardage total wise, doesn't put up very much. The Niners are good against the run, but I feel like Peyton Barber is the one who gets stuffed. McKissic will probably have 7 to 10 carries and probably get targeted a ton in the passing game, especially with the focus mostly being on Terry McLaurin. So I think that Carson and whoever you put in, I think they'll be okay. But these are smash spot potentials for Johnny's side of the ball. Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler. Derrick Henry against Jacksonville, I know he did not do very well in week 2. He's going to bounce back with a vengeance. This team needs to ride him and ride him early. The Titans are a fun fantasy team to own, but in the NFL, they want to establish the run. That's what they'll do against the Jacksonville Jaguars. No doubt in my mind. Austin Eckler. Eckler, I am still a little concerned about his injuries. One of these games, he's going to pull up. He's not going to be used in the running department that much. He'll be fine. Like, he'll get carries, don't get me wrong, but they're going to be very, very cautious with giving him the ball. Justin Jackson, I saw, was activated off the IR, which tells me that Eckler is probably going to be used in the receiving department a lot more. And the reason why, getting him out in space away from crowded tacklers to aggravate his hamstring. I think that's what's going to happen here. Eckler does not get goal line touches either, which is a little bit concerning, but his volume is so good. Eckler and McKissic, believe it or not, Eckler is a lot better, don't get me wrong, but the explosiveness of Eckler, haven't seen it since the injury, but the volume has gone his volume's been better than it was when he was healthy, which is like everything's balancing out. So, what do I have to do with that? Okay, so listen up. I think Eckler is in a great spot against Atlanta. Atlanta, funny as it may seem, hasn't been terrible against running backs this year. It's the pass, like receivers. Eckler should be fine getting his done in the air, so I got to go Johnny because of that matchup. Mark Andrews, well, Johnny's been praying that he goes off against the Cleveland Browns. Could happen. Travis Kelce against Miami, absolutely adore this matchup. Kelce he's been so good. This guy's a monster. In a matchup against Miami where they are vulnerable over the middle of the field, I know Xavier Howard's got some hype. He can't cover Tyreek Hill, though. Kelsey will be fine. Paul is leaving his flexes open for discussion, which means Chris Godwin. Here's what I'm predicting. Deontay Johnson and Chris Godwin will probably be the two flex guys in. That's going to be my guess. Tom Brady off of a bye has been spectacular, so I do expect Godwin and Evans. I haven't seen Antonio Brown, leapfrog them yet, but his presence is annoying because it's killing one, if not both, Godwin and Evans. Godwin is the definition of, okay, yeah, let me get my 12 to 15. He does not have any 20-point upside games in him. Mike Evans has that, except Mike Evans doesn't have any floor. So Godwin, you're getting the established floor. And who's the other? Oh, Deontay Johnson just gets too many targets to, ever be worried about him, right? This guy's getting like 10 to 12 every game. He's not very efficient with them, though. That's the thing. I don't think I've ever seen a guy get 12 targets and consistently get like 60 and 70 yards. It's weird. The thing with the Bills and Tre'Davious White, I honestly, Johnny, we had this discussion. I don't think this is a shadow-based situation. Unless, here's my thing. There's a possibility Claypool gets shadowed and they bracket Deontay. But the reason why you can't shadow against the Pittsburgh Steelers is because Ben distributes it so evenly to these three guys that it's hard because let's say there is a shadow matchup. That means Juju Smith-Schuster is getting like 10 catches for like 20 yards. They're just going to take whatever is there for them. I honestly don't think Deontay is to the point where he has to be shadowed. So honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't think Tre'Davious White shadows. I really don't because he hasn't even shadowed that much this year. I think Metcalf was the only game that he shadowed religiously in that. So I'll put my 2 cents in with that. I think they're both solid plays. Gallman and Robbie Anderson. Well, Robbie Anderson is kind of an easy start now with Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore possibly out. Anderson's going to get a lot of targets, whether you like it or not. I personally don't, but when you don't have anybody to throw to, and McCaffrey is definitely going to be downgraded, I would have to think that this guy is just going to be peppered with a lot of targets. He's having a hard time getting open, though, and I think they don't scheme him up the correct way. I feel like they've done a great job trying to get DJ Moore open in space. They really started with that in the beginning of the season for Robbie, and it's tailed off a little bit. This is a gross game. I don't know what the under is, but I would take it. Bridgewater's going to have to throw to the likes of Keith Kirkwood, I think. I don't even know who the hell they have. Is that Wayne Gallman? It is Wayne Gallman in the flex. Wow. Really like this matchup for Wayne Gallman. It's a pace-up spot against the Arizona Cardinals. Gallman was in fact, like I thought, was the Barkley handcuff, but the Giants felt like a dusty Devonta Freeman was the right situation, so I never had a chance to get him back. Gallman has consistently – here's the thing with Wayne Gallman. Everybody talks about this guy is a guy who needs quote-unquote carries. He needs to get in a rhythm. They've never gotten this guy in a rhythm before, so it's always like out of his 9 carries, one of them looks really, really good. But he has looked tremendous. Thing I like about him, too, is that with him in the lineup, it's unpredictable to see what the Giants are going to do with their next play call. Gallman's not a bad guy, man. Props to Jonathan for having this. I love this. I don't think you could bench him. Mostert is a risky sit because I feel like other than last week, I feel like he scores every time. But the pace-up spot against Arizona, look at what the Rams did, right? The Rams held the ball for like 40 minutes almost to the Cardinals 21 minutes or whatever it was. That's because the Cardinals, when they go 3 and out, literally like 3 seconds were taken off the clock in that time span. Gallman is going to get a lot of volume. My only concern, which is a really gay one, is this Alfred Morris 2-touchdown vulture shenanigan, whatever, right? Freaking Alfred Morris. that's what I have to say about that. So hopefully you guys either agree. I agree with you, Nikki. Fuck off, Nikki. Like whatever the hell you think, whatever situation that is, that's what I'm going with. I love this pace up spot in Wayne Gallman. Defensively, I got to give it to Paul. Browns have looked really good, but for whatever reason, Baker's worst games have always come against the Baltimore Ravens. Last year, they got the Ravens with Nick Chubb going beastly. Here's the thing, though. The Browns have a coach now, and they know the strengths and weaknesses of what they can do. I love Nick Chubb as a running back. They might be able to scheme him up pretty good. Pittsburgh against Buffalo, hate that matchup. Hate it. The only thing I do like about it is Josh Allen is still prone to turning over the ball. It's just so weird. It's like that's the only thing why I feel like people aren't on this guy is because he just does so many stupid plays that you forget about the good plays that he makes. There you go, Jay. There's my shout out to you. Pick in a wintertime. Paul, I gotta be honest, man. I'm getting a headache looking at these blank spots. Like, really, bro? And I'm sorry. Let me go to the Johnny key to victory. Key to victory number one, D. Hember has to be starting right now. Like, he missed it last week, took a vacation. All right. D. Hember and Eckler, they need to go off. And what I mean by that, 40-plus between both of them. Paul's receivers are scary to the point where they could just win him the game. That's key to victory number one. You need that to happen. Number two, key to victory for Jonathan to win this matchup is Mark Andrews is going to be an X factor. If you want this guy to be Mark Andrews of 2019, he's going up against arguably the best tight end in the league in Travis Kelce. Mark Andrews has to step up because Kelce is going to eat. Key to victory number three. The wild card here is the flex department for both teams, and I think that this is on my both key to victory matchups. You have Wayne Gallman and Robbie Anderson. This is literally like a coin flip. I think that Johnny's flexes have the guaranteed volume compared to Paul Burkall's. And Paul's volume is not even that bad, but you're giving me a running back that's touching the ball 15 plus every week, now in a pace up spot. Sign me up. You're also giving me, I don't like Robbie Anderson, but a guy who was already getting 9 targets a game without Christian McCaffrey, probably 15 plus. Yeah, sign me the freak up. Paul's guys already have been established. I think Deontay and Godwin are a good game for them. I feel like is like between 17 and 20 points. I don't see any boom explosions out of them here, though. I think the flex department is the third key to victory. Paul's keys to victory, it has to be Russ to Metcalf. I repeat, it has to be Russ to Metcalf. That combination doesn't happen and something weird happens in the equation. That sucks because you're going to need that to happen. The other thing that Paul needs to do in order to overtake Johnny, he needs one of Henry or Eckler to bust because I feel like, Paul, you're counting your blessings if both of them bust. I think one of them is a potential bust spot guy. Eckler would be my guy just because it's Derrick Henry. If it's possible, I'm not saying he's going to bust. And you need your running backs to be within a combination of 10 to 15 between Johnny's explosive guys, right? It's got to be something close to that. And the third key to victory is the same thing. I think the matchup gets decided with these flex spots. It's going to be intriguing. The thing you can't happen, because I'll talk about this Seattle stack that you have going on. Worst case scenario, it's the Jets. Best case scenario is Russell Wilson 4 touchdowns, 2 go to DK. If DK gets 3 touchdowns, John, I'll call 911 and see if Johnny is still alive. Boom, Chris Carson. You want him to do good, but you don't want him to be the vocal point of the whole game. What does that mean? He can't be the one to score 3 touchdowns because that kills Russ and Metcalf. You can't have a game. I think the average game in this type of matchup is something like this, which, Paul, you might say to yourself, I'll still take that, and that's fine. A Russ 2 touchdown performance with Metcalf catching 1 and Carson rushing in a touchdown, I think, is the most logical outcome to happen. The most illogical combination I think to happen would be Carson, no touchdown. Metcalf, no touchdown. Russ throws for 3, but they all go to like Lockett or something like that. That sucks. There's no way. Paul, calm down. I know you're going to be so mad if it happens. The thing I don't think that's going to happen is Russ just not cooking in this matchup. Russ, the passing yardage or the passing total is probably going to be 2.5. Prop. Take it. I like Metcalf the best. They don't need to go to lot. I've said this time and time again. Look, here's where you have to get yourself hyped up a little bit. Look at the matchups where they're against really crappy teams. They never use Lockett against these crappy teams because they don't need him. I always say this time and time again, and I know everybody forgets about Tyler Lockett, right? This is the guy who's going to be their secret weapon, and they want him healthy for the playoffs, and he's not 100%. You saw, I thought he hurt his ankle last week. They treat him like a baby almost. It's like, we don't want, because he's so small. I get it. But, like, come on. I don't think Lockett does anything in this game. Like, there's such a good sample size. And if it does, Paul, you're going to be so mad. All right, time to pick a winner. Boys, I must say that this matchup, I think both of you put up over 140. I am that confident, as long as you don't start somebody. Oh, God. Lord have mercy. This might be the toughest matchup to call in the playoffs. For those of you who know me, and you know me very well, Nicholas is a guy who loves explosion over floor. That's my deciding factor here because I honestly legit think that all of you guys will be hitting your floors. So I think the floors are guaranteed. Who has potential to hit the most upside in this matchup? Running back department, I think Jay has Paul beat with the running backs. As far as quarterback and receivers are concerned, I think Paul has Jay on that one. The flexes are going to be the determining factor in this matchup because Johnny's got the guaranteed floor. Paul, I think, has floor, but I think Johnny's has a little bit more upside. I think the determining factor here is as Metcalf goes off, Thielen cancels that out. I think Corey Davis comes close to Stephon Diggs. Johnny's running backs, serviceable lead against Paul's running backs. Tight ends, give me Mr. Percall. Now I got to pick flexes. Who do I trust? Who do I honestly trust in this matchup to get the victory? I'm going to give you the final score, ladies and gentlemen. The flex matchup, believe it or not, becomes very close. Very, 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 very close. However, I've seen too many times this big giant over 6 feet tall with dreads, or I mean, what the hell is that anyway, hanging out of the back of his helmet? And it's going to be a scary sight for Paul, even though Metcalf's going to have a good game. I'm banking on Adam Thielen to counteract that. I am also banking on the fact that Roethlisberger can at least throw 2 touchdowns. He scares me a little bit, but I'm struggling here, boys. I'm struggling. I think Wayne Gallman has a huge day. Robbie Anderson will be okay. Deontay Johnson and Godwin will be okay. My winner. It's a tough call. I think the Seattle stack hits, but I think Johnny's guys are in really good spots to explode. The only guy I think that doesn't explode is Corey Davis, and I think that's not even a knock. You know, I wouldn't knock my man like that, but I feel like he gets 14 points. I think there's a little bit of uncertainty. These running backs with Paul, I think, let him down in this matchup when we look at the deciding factor. Johnny wins with the final score, 153 to Paul's 142.